Hello everyone, nice to see everyone again. It's good to be back in YouTube recording videos. So I'm going to do a reaction video today regarding Scotty Kilmer's truth video about the BMW, especially the F15 X5. So I'm going to particularly focus on that video only. That section of the video he commented. It's because yours truly here own one, so maybe I have a small say in it. So I'm going to give you guys some input on whether Scotty Kilmer is telling the truth or partial truth or maybe a bit of lie. I wouldn't say that because, well, let's see. He's one of the biggest YouTuber in automotive industry. I think personally I watch many of his videos, so don't take it wrongly. I love the content he produced. So let's jump into it.
Here's a real one that a guy bought used. Okay, the original MSRP was $78,000. He paid 28 grand with 40-something thousand miles on it. Now, this guy had worked on the assembly line at BMW, and now he does stuff like testing them out. He could take these things apart and put them back together again. That's one of the reasons he bought the car, and the other reason was he lives in South Carolina, where, strangely enough, he found a British mechanic who works on these things, who's honest. Now, this may be the only BMW.
So I don't have a British mechanic in Malaysia. I do have a Chinese foreman in Malaysia, which I have been frequently visit for all my BMWs. I've owned total of 9 so far, and most of them are serviced with this foreman. He's in Bandar Sunway. If you guys are in Malaysia, you want to check him out. And I'm not promoting him, but so far he's never let me down from all my ownership, including my 2 M3s. So let's continue the video.
Mechanic in the world who's honest, as far as I'm concerned. Now you can see why people buy them, because they're beautiful SUVs.
Yes, it is beautiful.
They're luxurious inside.
Personal opinion.
We'll go on the other side while we're walking around. The leather interior's immaculate. It's got the dual sunroof, lots of room in the back. As a warning, if you don't know any BMW mechanics and you buy one of these, you better have a big piggy bank for repairs. In the case of this one, he has had to replace the air conditioning compressor between 40 and 80,000 miles. It was $3,100. He had to replace the compressor, the condenser. The compressor just flat blew a hole in itself. Even at that price, if he'd taken it to the dealer, it would have been even more. So, you realize they're not cheap to fix. But,
correct.
As you can see, here's the injection system. It is solidly built, an inline 6. He took the plastic crap engine cover off and threw it away because he knows about machines. It doesn't serve any purpose. And truthfully, hey, he lives in South Carolina. You do not want heat to build up on your engine. You want it to dissipate. Now, if you live in Alaska, I can understand it. It's freezing cold.
Okay, this point, maybe he's right. I'm not sure. I live in Malaysia, as some of you guys may have known. This is a very hot country. Maybe the beauty cover doesn't make sense. Maybe I should just throw it away. Honestly, I don't know. But because since I'm driving a 40E, which is a hybrid, my combustion engine barely kicks in most of the time. So maybe it doesn't really apply to me. In fact, most of the time, 90% of the time, I'm driving on purely electric mode. Well, but this, if you're driving a 6-cylinder or maybe a diesel and you're in a humid area, I think what he said does make sense logically.
You want the heat to stay under there, but where it's hot, a beauty cover actually serves negative benefits. It's hurting the vehicle by holding the heat in. I mean, look, all this stuff's plastic. This little plastic line broke, and this little plastic hose here was 75 bucks. Let me tell you, that's the tip of the iceberg on one of these. As you can see here, this is the charge hose, right? And this charge hose, he tried an aftermarket one, but it blew off. So he had to go back to OEM, and this hose was a $410 part. Like I said, tip of the iceberg on these things. The parts cost a small fortune. That's one of the reasons that he could get a $78,000 car for $20-something thousand. I don't care what kind of nonsense they give you about, oh, high resale values. I remember way back decades ago, BMW touted.
Okay, regarding the high resale value for BMWs, never going to happen. Unless you own a very, what do you say, enthusiast type of car, assuming it's a rare M3 CSL or the very rare M3 GTS, those type of cars, yes, you may have a very high resale value, or even an E39 M5 or E46 manual 6-shift, not the pedal shifter. Yeah, you're going to get high resale value, especially when this car starts to age and become a collector's item. On normal cars like well, my X5, the F15, or even the older generation E70, resale value is shit, especially a hybrid car. In Malaysia, where I bought it for a slightly premium price of 185,000 ringgit. To be frank with you, if I go to second-hand dealer last year, I probably can get it for about 170-ish, or maybe slightly below 170. But brand new, if it doesn't include the tax rebate in Malaysia, is well over 400,000. I think it's hovering close to like 500,000. After the tax rebate, the price reduced slightly below 400,000. And used one, I bought about 4-year-old car, it is like half the price. Can you imagine? So let's continue.
They had the highest resale value in the world. They claimed like their 528 version had the highest resale. They found some item that they barely sold many of, and then the next year the prices went up, so the resale value of the other ones they claim was high. This is more reality, BMW. 70-something grand for a new one, 40,000 goes for 20-something grand. That is the reality of things, because most people understand that BMW stands for bring my wallet when it comes time to maintain and fix the car. And check out the tires. He's got nice tires.
Yeah,
you know why he's got nice tires? Because this baby come with those stupid run flat tires.
Yeah,
and he said it rode like crap. Why would I want a car like this that rides like crap? That's the big reason.
Correct. The run flat tires on the X5 is not that terrible, since it's high profile tire. If it's on the low profile tire, run flat is extremely terrible. I sat in my Boss 330i, I think the latest one, can't remember what model. I'm going to share the model on the screen. When it was on this run flat tire, it was horrible, bouncing around. There after he changed to normal tires, then it does help a lot. But for X5 like this is high profile tires, you still got ample of rubber for you to absorb, but then again it's a lot harsher if you compare to the normal tires.
You really don't see too many cars anymore using run flat tires. Yeah, I mean, if you're worried that, you know, bad people are coming after you with guns, you want to have bulletproof tires that run flat. Yeah, but if you want a nice car that rides nice, run flat tires stink. So he went to normal good tires. You can see these aren't crazy low profile, they're normal tires, normal rims. They're not that crazy gonna go flat every time you hit a curb or hit a pothole and blow out. They're much better with these tires on them. Now, this car has about every option there is, but he went with the base wheels. He didn't want to pop his tires on the potholes and deal with that crap. But everybody wants these big wheels with low profile because the way they look. This guy's smart. He got this for the way that it drives. The original idea of BMW was the ultimate driving machine. And way back in the 60s, hey, they were driving circles around American cars, and they kept their driving up. It's just that they started going too much into stylistic crap that doesn't serve a purpose. We'll take a look inside. Start her up. Whoa, look at that BMW, boy. That's a really cool
you can
little...
that.
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Now you can hear, this is one strong running engine. I'm going to put my scan tool on it, but BMW and these 6-cylinder engines, they can run forever, smooth power delivery, nice smooth idle. A lot of companies have gone away from straight sixes, not BMW.
BMW on the straight six is one of the smoothest engine I've ever encountered. In fact, well, not most, all my BMW except for the last two, which is my wife's E84 and my current F15 is on the 4-cylinder. I don't really like the engine of 4-cylinder. It's very rough. If I can, of course, I would enjoy the straight six on the F15, but they don't sell straight six engine in Malaysia, especially after the 2016. They have up to 2015 model. As some people quoting me, why you should sell that, don't buy this hybrid junk, just go for 6-cylinder engine. Yeah, if there's a choice of a newer model with 6-cylinder, I'll go for that. But then again, this is a heavy car. It's going to be very heavy on the fuel consumption.
These things are solid built. And this one has an excellent transmission. He says it shifts even better now than it did when he bought it years ago. They're solid built cars. It's the plastic and electronic stuff that'll drive you nuts. And as he just told me, you gotta maintain them. A lot of people don't maintain anything. Okay, let's say you're gonna buy a Toyota, right? Buy a Toyota. Change the oil every 10,000 miles. That's about it. First 100,000 miles, 10 years, that's probably all you're gonna have to do. These you have to maintain. If you don't maintain your car, go buy a BMW. Oh, we're turning out scanner on. Diagnosis, X5, US.
If you are from Japanese car, Toyota, Honda, whatsoever, even our local car, and you transition to BMW, you don't have the mentality to maintain the car, you're going to have a rough time keeping the car in good condition, because BMW, like most European cars especially, you have to take care of it. Otherwise, you will give you a horrible drive, and you will accumulate more problems. So that's the reason why I always do preventive maintenance a lot, just to be sure. And yes, the 8-speed ZF transmission is super smooth. You barely feel the transmission engaging from gear to gear. I had the same transmission on my wife E84, and I love it. E84, there's two versions. One is a 6-speed and one is 8-speed. When I was looking for E84 back then, I specifically looked for the facelift version, so I get the 8-speed gearbox, because this gearbox is, I know, is super smooth and super reliable.
Diagnosis and an auto scan. Here we go. So here we go. Now, we always expect a few codes. We'll start out with the integrated chassis management. It has one fault. And the code is signal invalid from a transmitter. From the electric power steering. As the owner just said, if you heard him, stupid German stuff. Yes, the Germans get carried away with just about everything. We really don't care about that. There's also an electronic power steering code. Let's look at that. I bet it's the same code too. Watch.
Yeah, I have a scanner, OBD scanner myself. It's a small dongle where I can just plug it and then use my handphone to check whatever errors that come to my car. Of course, my tool is not that advanced like Scotty Kilmer's one. That one costs tens of thousands of dollars. Mine is just like a couple $100. But it's good enough for preventive maintenance or anything you need to check on the fly. Then you can do that if you find anything wrong. Where you're going outstation or anything, then at least you can communicate with your foreman on the phone, telling him what is wrong. Then if you need to inspect, you just drive it back to a service center and you plug in a proper diagnostic tool to clear the codes or whatsoever. You need a minimum of a simple, cheap scanning tool for BMWs. This is a must, especially keep in your home. I most of the time keep in the car, so when I travel, I can use it if I need it.
Electronic power steering torque sensor steering angle index faulty, intermittent. So
even when I
we'll
bought a
erase
brand
that
new
too. The headlight high
car,
system.
and
two codes. Let's see what those codes are. It's actually
from
going to be
BMW,
comical.
it came with
Okay,
38
intermittent
codes.
connection. Headlight to CID, no communication. CID image data invalid or faulty. So we'll erase those two. So according to this, the adaptive headlights aren't adapting quite correctly, but he has no problem seeing when he's driving. Nobody's flashing their brights at him, so we'll see what else is on the computer. We have the integrated automatic heating and AC. Okay, that's got a fault too. Let's see what that fault is. All right, people. You're not gonna believe this, but this one is stratification flap motor, front right, locking has been detected. You're gonna find this on any BMW as it ages. You're gonna get wacky codes up the wazoo because of all the technology. You wouldn't believe how many separate modules are on this thing, and all it takes is one little glitch. Realize all these computer modules work on 5-volt reference signals. Not much power, and usually the amperage that goes through them is milliamps, thousands of an amp. Hardly any little glitch, and it'll do squirrely stuff like this. So we'll go back, we'll erase that too. Now all the codes are gone, except for this first one, the integrated chassis management. It erases, but it immediately comes back on. It'll be the same code for sure. Signal EPS is invalid, the transmitter for the electronic power steering. So according to this, it's not getting the actual position of the power steering. There's something wrong either in the wiring or the sensor itself. But like I say, he hasn't had any problem driving it around. So let's look at live data. 2 live data, battery voltage is fine. Remember, these are color-coded. If anything's weird, it's going to be color-coded and be off. But look at all this stuff. Ambient pressure, ambient temperature, throttle valve opening position, charging pressure. Oh, we're giving the Germans a plus here. The data's here on this machine. Do I have to get a pressure gauge and hook it up? Fuel, maybe it'll leak, start a fire. Then you got to buy new gaskets. This, at least you get a good machine like this, you can actually read it to see if it's working right or not. I'll give them an A+ for that one. And check this out. Variable camshaft timing exhaust position with engine running. It's running. It is 4.06, 4.22. It moves around a little. Kerbal Winkles means crank angle. The angle of the crank. Yes, they have to have everything in strange languages, even on the machines that we Americans use. So here we go with more. The pressure. I mean, look at this. Running rough value. Pretty close to 0. I mean,
that's quite a long video.
We're talking about you're off of 23 100ths of a percent. It's practically nothing. Of course, there's no misfires. They're all 0. But the Germans go further than misfires. They go to rough running values. Now that one was perfect for second. It was 0.000. Oh, now it's 0.049, 0.060, 0.00 again. That's the Germans for you. In their search for perfection, they find out Velvy can get close, but they can't get the whole way. No, but you can see, look at the amount of data. This thing has so many modules on it, it will make your head spin. Alternator temperature, alternator excitation current. You can really analyze these things if you want to go that far. It shows you the Hall sensor, 1 accelerator pedal voltage, sensor 2 pedal voltage. They really make it so you can analyze the stuff. There's no arguing that. And ignition timing on a running engine, it's running. It is.
So if you get this type of codes and you don't understand it, yeah, of course you can Google it. But then again, the whole idea is you want to relay this message to your foreman when you get the codes, assuming you are outstation or somewhere remote, and after you check your own codes, screenshot and send it to your foreman. At least your foreman can tell you what is happening. So that's about it. The rest of it, I don't think so you can do much except for clear the codes and get it to your foreman to check whether it's any physical damage or issues.
3 degrees, Kerbal Winkle, 3.75, 4.5. We'll rev it up, of course. It'll go up then because it's got advanced timing. Well, it's actually in excellent shape. Kerbal Winkles or not, so let's take it for a spin. And of course, it's got a killer stereo. We got all kinds. Look, wide angle, side angle, regular angle. Look, we can see everything. Look. Here we go, we're moving, you can see we're moving. I love these cameras. Now this baby even has night vision on the front. Let's hope it doesn't have an MG42 under the hood too. And of course, as you can see here, it's got a nice heads-up display.
The head-up display
shows you how fast you're going and the speed limit where you are. It's 25 miles an hour here. Comes in real handy.
Too bright on
and this is broad daylight.
As for the heads-up display, you can adjust the brightness. During the daytime, it will be white color. It will be very visible as in Scotty Kilmer's video. And the night time you will turn orange, so it doesn't glare back at your eye. So that's very nice actually.
Drive, they're very smooth. It's kind of like riding on a magic carpet ride, but hey, they handle like a dream. It's just the repairs that are nightmares.
That's true.
So here we go to our little drag strip. Nobody's coming, so well, somebody's coming there. You take these things out in the country, out in the highway, that's what they're made for. And here we come to our little drag strip. Now realize, this is just a 6-cylinder inline engine, but the Germans know how to make them. We'll check the shifting, and we'll check the engine.
Very smooth
Ready,
engine.
set,
I love it a lot, even when I'm driving a 325 back then.
Smooth power delivery.
6-cylinder.
Those shifts,
very smooth
you
engine.
can barely feel it shifting. That's how they sell them. You get in one of these and drive it, you're going to think, oh man, I'm in love with the BMW. But it may be one of those love affairs that doesn't last over time, and after you divorce your 5th wife, you might wonder, gee, maybe I should stay away from those things. This has got 81,000 miles on it now, but hey, you really don't have anything wrong with it at all, other than all that crazy German nonsense, angle, this, that, and everything else. It steers fine. It drives fine. Look at that passing gear. You can pass people in this, and the engine just keeps ticking. They're pretty quiet inside. will come to a stop. The only thing I can hear is the fan.
Yeah, if you drive
it's
a
on
hybrid,
low.
it's even more quieter.
That's all I can
You
hear.
won't believe it.
Is the
The
fan
only
on
thing you
low.
hear is the
Smooth
noise
as can
and
be.
that
The
tire sound.
6-cylinder engines, that's what they're made for. Smooth power. Now, gas mileage, not so much. He gets around 20 miles a gallon, but this is an all-wheel drive vehicle, too. It's heavy, and it's...
Yeah, like again, I drove a E53 6-cylinder 3-liter X5 4-wheel drive, and it is a super gas petrol guzzling machine. Super smooth, not that fast, but that was the old transmission 5-speed, so the fuel consumption is really horrible. But I use that car a lot during outstation where I do off-road a lot. But for this X5 that I currently own, purely on city driving, and I'm getting about 2.9 liters per 100 kilometers. Yeah. So because I own a hybrid 40E, and like I said, most of the time I'm driving on purely electric mode, the petrol engine barely kicks in. So that's the advantage of having a hybrid car.
And it's fast, so, you know, you can't whine about 20 miles a gallon if you're going to drive something like this and have some fun in it. It's not made for gas mileage. That's one of the reasons that straight six engines really aren't that much around, because they do use a bit more fuel than a V6 configuration will. And one of the reasons he went for the 6-cylinder was because he didn't want the V8, because he knows about BMWs. He works for him. And he knows the valve stems on the V8s go bad. You got to pull the engines. Cost
Actually, I'm
a
looking
lot
for V8
of money.
M3
Grandson's got a V8 BMW, and yes, the valve seals are gone and it burns oil. They all do that. It's a known flaw. On these 6-cylinder engines, no, they're strong engines. And listen to that sound. Yeah, it's a 6-cylinder engine, but boy, it's got a nice hum to it. BMW X5. Known as one of the most expensive vehicles in the world to take care of and maintain, but this guy maintains it, and he has a English mechanic who knows how to work on them. You can see the technology from my fancy computer that's in these things. It's absolutely insane, but they are fun to drive. The engines are solid, the transmissions are solid. Just realize you got to maintain them, and you're gonna have to find yourself a mechanic like he did.
Yes,
the English guy,
you need one.
who understands.
A good mechanic.
Guy like me with equipment that can actually see what's going on, understand how to fix these things, because they are so complex.
All right. So the next video, of course, he's talking about BMW 650i. So the thing is that this car, the F15, is older generation model now, is G05. Maintenance part, actually, yeah, if you buy new parts, then it will be very expensive. But you can get OEM, which is slightly more cheaper, about 30% more cheaper. However, like certain parts that is broken, for my car, my comfort access for my rear passenger side, mine is a right-hand drive, passenger side is broken, it's no longer functional, so I cannot use the comfort access to open the door. If I buy new from BMW, they quoted me about 2,000 plus for the entire wiring and installation and the whole parts assembly. So when I do check in eBay, or I can go to the half-cut shop, or what you call it, Greater Potong in Malaysia, or junk shop in America, what they call it, then yeah, you can buy those parts for very cheap, about 100 plus US, where I've just checked 2 days ago. And yeah, there are things like if you want to change the interior trim, if you buy new, of course, it's going to cost you 2,000 bucks for the interior trim, because there were some scratches on my cube aluminum trim, and I don't really like that cube aluminum because it's quite bright and shiny. But it does give the contrast of the entire interior. When I was checking for this M Performance type, where they have Alcantara and carbon fiber, they are selling it for like 400 to 500 US, so much cheaper than you buy brand new for 2,000 US. So what I'm trying to say is that a lot of parts you can source, either you get OEM, which you can get a lot cheaper, or certain parts that you don't need to buy brand new, you can source it at a half-cut shop or eBay. You can find lots of them, because this is the old car. In fact, my car is 5 years old, and overall this car has been around for more than about 10 years already. So okay, I'm going to keep this video, more like end this video now, and I hope you enjoy my perspective of this F15 X5. So I see you guys in my next video. Bye bye.